Have you ever come across something and just wondered, like, why does this exist? You maybe think of some horrific movies such as Midori or 964 Pinocchio, or even worse. Or maybe there's songs like Dance Monkey or anything made from 100 gecs. I'm sorry, that's a bit personal. And there's so many more things to think about. Why do ticks exist? They actually do nothing. People argue, oh, well, every animal serves a purpose. Well, ticks don't. They just ruin everything. I found one in my hair in 6th grade. Like, it was just nestling around my hair. Why does Logan Paul exist? He's never done anything beneficial for humanity. And why do house listings on Zillow like this exist? Nobody's gonna go to Zillow to buy a crack house that looks like it's from Half-Life 2. This basement looks like it's from The Joy of Creation. I mean, like, look at it. You cannot tell me you don't see it. I feel like I'm in Gmod 13_hotels just looking at it. But what about video games? What are some games that completely baffle you when you remember that they exist? Maybe it's something like Yakuza Dead Souls, a game in the Yakuza franchise that finds the main cast of Yakuza 4 gunning down waves of zombies in typically over-exaggerated Yakuza fashion after half of Kamurocho has been infected by zombies. Now, if you know anything about the Yakuza franchise, you know that this concept makes zero sense. I know Yakuza can be over the top and everything and so goofy, but things aren't lining up. And topping it all off with exaggerated gore splattering, you get something that doesn't fit the Yakuza franchise at all. But the existence of this game may be a bit more justified than you think. Yakuza is becoming popular and the characters are put in wacky over-the-top situations all the time, like I said, but usually they're a bit more grounded and believable. So maybe the devs thought putting their beloved characters in a B-movie style spin-off would be a great way to make a quick buck. And obviously this game doesn't really commit anything atrocious. The worst this game does is tear down the immersion of a franchise by practically retconning the morals and the story of its characters despite it being non-canon. But the same cannot be said for the upcoming games on this list. Hong Kong 97.
Hey guys, editing Breben here. I am not gonna be showing any gameplay of Hong Kong 97 because it shows dead bodies a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you kill an enemy, it shows a dead body. In the beginning cutscene, it shows a mass grave during the Holocaust. So yeah, I'm gonna put something else on the screen.
A bootleg game for the Nintendo Super Famicom that was made in 1 week by a video game journalist and his friend as a satire of the gaming industry. This game should not legally exist. It also shows a real dead body on the game over screen, which is a completely separate rabbit hole. It's not a fun one. It's not a fun one to go down. The creator of this game, Kowloon Kurosawa, made one other game called The Miniskirt Police, a game where you're a female cop in a skimpy outfit trying to assassinate the leader of an organization secretly selling a powerful drug. And every time you take damage, your clothing gets ripped off more and more. I might honestly cover this one someday. Ethnic Cleansing, a game, oh my god, a game made by a group of white supremacist neo-Nazis, and I'm sure you can assume what this game is about. For a moral standpoint, this is terrible, it should not exist. Why does this exist? I will never cover anything like this on my channel, no matter how much you freaks want me to. Unless it's a FNAF fan game. Or maybe a game that doesn't necessarily commit any offense. Maybe it's just a game that's odd. One that serves... What the fuck? Or maybe a game that doesn't necessarily commit any offense. Maybe it's just a game that's odd. One that serves no real purpose, or at least an unknown purpose. One that would probably make zero difference to the world if it never even existed in the first place. A game that gives no background as to what it means or where the characters came from. I am, of course, talking about Chuzzle, or more specifically to this video, Chuzzle Deluxe. I didn't even know this game existed until I looked at the contents of the PopCap Party Pack for my Plants vs. Zombies video. Speaking of which, welcome back to my PopCap Party Pack series. Alongside Chuzzle in this delightful little bundle, there's Plants vs. Zombies, which I've already covered, Zuma Deluxe, Bejeweled 3, and Peggle Deluxe. The PopCap Party Pack is a jolly good time, and I'd recommend it to anybody who's This video is going over Chuzzle Deluxe, no other games from the franchise, including Chuzzle 2, Chuzzle Slots, or Chuzzle Snap, as these are mobile games not published by PopCap. I don't know. And one more thing before we start the video. Thank you for watching. Chuzzle is a puzzle game released on May 12th of 2005. Alright, it's time for the developer factoids. The development studio of Chuzzle is Raptisoft Games, owned by John Raptis. He's the head designer for Chuzzle and was involved in various other cult classics, such as being the programmer for Dynamite Deluxe, a visualizer for Bejeweled Twist, and the co-creator of Minecraft.
35-year-old Patrick Thomas Julianelle is the creator behind the massively successful YouTube channel, Popular MMO.
The composer of this game is Tyler Rappenfried, who I could find very little information about. His compositions for this game all sound very similar, just with like slight variations. His compositions for this game all sound quite similar, just with slight variations, and the song that is obviously the most different is the Zen Chuzzle theme, which will be played in the background as I talk about Zen Chuzzle. I cannot find a single thing about this guy, and I don't think the man from Kenton, Ohio selling alcohol to minors is him. And that's it. Wikipedia does not list anybody else who has worked on this game. Now, if you're interested in playing Chuzzle Deluxe, be warned, as it takes up a whopping 9.17 megabytes. Chuzzle is a strange little puzzle game where in its most bare-bones form, you are presented with a 6x6 grid full of Chuzzles, and you must slide the rows and columns of Chuzzles in order to align 3 or more Chuzzles of the same color to be adjacent to one another, and this makes them fucking explode. If you pop 5 or more Chuzzles at once, it creates a Chuzzle with a pulsating glow that once matched with other Chuzzles will pop all the other Chuzzles around it in a certain area. I don't know, I didn't bother to count. But what the hell even is a Chuzzle? Well, it's just a sentient little ball of fuzz with eyes, I guess. 2 eyes. Huh. This is interesting, because the 6x6 grid means that there are able to be a maximum of 36 Chuzzles on the screen at once. If you subtract the number of eyes on a single Chuzzle by the total amount of possible Chuzzles on screen, which is 36 minus 2, you get 34. Now divide by the number of eyes on a single Chuzzle again, and you get 17. 17 is the same number of digits as the longitude and latitude that the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska resides. Those exact coordinates being latitude 40.907223517247572 and longitude minus 97.084183526368894. Maybe somewhere in the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska lies a deeply hidden artifact of some sort relating to the in-game origins of the Chuzzles. It would be amazing to go visit and uncover the secret, but unfortunately I live approximately 13 hours away from the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska, and I do not have the means to afford this trip. If you haven't noticed, once Chuzzles are popped, their eyeballs will fly off of them and land in a beaker of evil juice. The eyeballs help make even more evil juice until this fluid reaches the neck of the bottle. The juice will then be corked, shaken, and exploded, as a stream of Chuzzle eyes escape into the atmosphere, spreading like a mold spore.
Mold spore. That will be important later.
In the next level, we encounter a type of Chuzzle that appears to be quite calorie dense. I will be referring to these Chuzzles as Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser takes up a 2x2 area and therefore removes all Chuzzles in the path that you slide Brendan Fraser. But when you match him up with other Chuzzles and pop him, Brendan Fraser releases a terrible cry. Now, normal Chuzzles have a chance to be imprisoned, and this makes it so you cannot move the row or column that this Chuzzle resides in. To free him, you just need to pop him, but due to the restriction that the locked up Chuzzle provides, this makes it difficult to actually make it match. I was searching for how locked Chuzzles appear, like whether they were random or if requirements had to be met, but in the process I stumbled across a blog post from June 7th, 2011, titled Chuzzles, Locks, and Roadblocks. Allow me to read it to you. Chuzzles, Locks, and Roadblocks. 7th of June, 2011 at 11:04 p.m. Okay, I admit it, I like to play Chuzzle. After a long day of ferreting out client information and formulating presentation strategies, I like mindless, no-thinking-involved entertainment. Chuzzle provides it. Briefly, you match 3 or more of the same colored fuzzballs by moving the columns up, down, left, or right. They giggle, explode, and accumulate points. New fuzzballs drop into place once you've exploded them enough to move on to the next level. I'm not sure if it's the way the Chuzzle's eyes move to follow the cursor as you play, or if it's the way they get all excited when they come close to another Chuzzle of the same color, or if it's the anthropomorphism of my own Dust Bunny collection. In parentheses, 5 dogs, 3 indoor cats, ... I know dust bunnies. but I like to play. Levels 1 and 2 lull you into a false sense of security. Easy, no thinking game. Suddenly on the third level, a lock soars in from out of nowhere, preventing any movement of this row. As the level increases, so does the frequency of the locks. Freeing the poor imprisoned Chuzzle requires matching it in groups of 3, same as the unlocked one, but it is more difficult since you can't move the row. When I first started playing and the locks came swooping in, I put all my energy into freeing that one Chuzzle, ignoring the rest of the board. That led to more locks and eventually the dreaded no more moves message. I never advanced past single-digit levels. Ack. One night I tried a different strategy. I kept focus on the entire board, paying attention to the lock, but not fixating on it. You know what? When I changed my focus to the big picture, the game changed. Moving a row on the other side of the board frequently exploded the lock with little effort. Wow. What a great lesson for job seekers. Stop applauding. You know I always get to a job search point eventually. Frequently, I see job seekers throwing up their own roadblocks. They've done phenomenal things for employers or the community, yet they fixate on one limiting facet of their career history or the job search market and ignore the big picture. I'm too old. I don't have a degree. I can't job search in the summer. Interns take all the jobs. Heard that one last week. I can't job search during the holiday. No one hires then. I've been in the same company for 20 years. That's bad, right? I've had a string of short-term positions. That's not good, right? I work for my family's business. Work is work and skills are skills. I have a gap in my work history. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I'm marketable. Please. And on and on and on. A few years ago, I worked with a man who partnered with his brother, started a manufacturing firm in the family garage. I spent 90 plus minutes listening to his tale of taking a 2-person, home-based operation and growing it into a multi-million-dollar, multi-location business employing more than 100 people. He told of innovations and patents, exclusive product development, and high profit margins. Wow, kept escaping from my lips. For a multitude of reasons, he chose to leave the business and seek employment elsewhere. As we were wrapping up, he asked almost timidly, "So, am I marketable?" My jaw dropped. Marketable? Goodness, you've done such impressive things in your career. I'm ready to hire you and I don't manufacture anything, was my reply. He countered with, "Yeah, but I only have a high school education. I never got a degree." Kerchung! Sound of Chuzzle lock flying in from nowhere. Rather than seeing the millions of dollars he earned, the hundreds of people he employed, and the accomplishments he'd had during his career, he saw one limiting factor: his lack of a 4-year degree. That's not to say his concern wasn't valid. Lack of a degree could be an issue during a search, but putting time, energy, and worry into addressing one's shortcomings and not focusing on value is a sure way to limit or lock down movement during a search. Rather than lament the lack, I convinced him to diminish it. I may not have a bachelor's degree from a formal institution, but as you can see by my sales figures, profit margins, patents, and overall business success, I earned a doctorate-level education from the School of Hard Knocks. I generated profit from my parents' garage. Imagine what I can do for you. Boom! The sound of a Chuzzle lock exploding. He got it. If job seekers make a lack of whatever an issue, they've erected their own roadblock. Being aware of but not focused on whatever brings a much more effective big picture approach, frequently exploding the locks and eliminating the roadblock altogether with little effort. Now, try and get to level 13 on Chuzzle. I have. TMI?
Now, this article was written by Dawn S. Bugney, a writer from North Carolina who suddenly stopped writing her blogs in 2014. Dawn, if you're out there, please come back to us. North Carolina. So, North Carolina was founded in 1789, while Nebraska, home of the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska, was founded in 1867. Both of these years have an 8 in them. 8. 7, 8, 9. 8. Nom nom yummy yummy. How did the big Chuzzle Brendan Fraser become so big? Well, he's called Brendan Fraser for a reason. Brendan Fraser, aka the whale. He's gluttonous. He's fat because he eats and eats and eats. The big Chuzzle got so big because he ate the smaller Chuzzles. I have a theory that Dawn S. Bugney stopped writing her blog in 2014 because she transformed into a big Chuzzle. Dawn's company, The Right Solution, resides in Pender County, North Carolina. Fender bender. My father wrapped a car around a tree in 1987. Reverse those numbers, what do you get? 7891. 789 to become 1. One just like the big Chuzzle. This evidence further confirms the theory that Don S. Bugney turned into a big Chuzzle in 2014. To bring this theory further into the truth, there's also an 8 in Don Bugney's zip code. So it turns out that imprisoned Chuzzles appear randomly and there isn't anything that determines when it will happen in this game mode. Did you think that this is all there was to this game? Wrong! There are 4 main game modes in Chuzzle. Classic Chuzzle, which we just went over, Zen Chuzzle, Speed Chuzzle, and Mindbender. In Zen Chuzzle, there are no imprisoned Chuzzles. You can't lose, it just goes on forever. And as you earn points, you get these big fat Chuzzles that sit at the bottom of the screen. And every time you amass 5 of them, you receive a rainbow band by your beaker. And once you get 5 of those, you create a trinket. And I do not care enough to know what happens if I keep going, because this is so fucking boring. Speed Chuzzle. In Speed Chuzzle, you are forced to think on your toes, as when you make your first match, a bar at the bottom of the screen will begin to fill. Each match you make will slightly lower the bar, but if the bar fills up all the way, a random Chuzzle will be locked. And as you progress through levels, nothing really happens. It just gets a bit harder to match Chuzzles because rainbow Chuzzles appear after a while. I didn't mention them earlier, but rainbow Chuzzles aren't anything special. They just serve as a new color on the board, so it's harder to make matches. They start appearing in both Classic Chuzzle and Speed Chuzzle starting at level 5. Interesting little factoid break. In Peggle Deluxe, there are 3 levels that feature Chuzzles. Remember this. This will be important later. In level 4-1, you can spot 2 Chuzzles, a red Chuzzle with blue eyes sitting in a crater on the left side of the screen, and a blue Man, my Roomba is loud as fuck. And a light blue Chuzzle with green eyes in a crater on the right side of the screen, staring at each other longingly. In level 4-2, there's a spaceship full of Chuzzles of varying color, with 1 light blue Chuzzle on the outside of the ship floating through space. And in level 4-3, the background is mostly being blocked by an astronaut with the head of a Chuzzle. That must be a pretty big Chuzzle. Big Chuzzle is that? Oh my god. Dawn has Bugney, it's Dawn, we found her, oh my god! Mindbender Chuzzle. Before I get into what Mindbender Chuzzle is, let me show you the clip of me opening the game to record the footage for this segment.
It has been a month since I started writing this script, and I am now just getting to the Mindbender Chuzzle segment. Like, I haven't written that part of the script yet because I need to experience it first. This has been the worst video of all time to work on because this game is so nothing. There are so many things I'd rather be doing. I've come up with like so many video ideas. Like all I've wanted to do is start work on the video about shovelware games, or the video about some upcoming games I'm really looking forward to, or the video where I talk about every single Joker and Balatro. Or heck, even my next PopCat Party Pack video, which will probably be on Zuma. I hate this, and I'm sorry this has taken so long to get out, but holy shit, this game, this is not my thing. Whatever, we're going to Mindbender Chuzzle.
In Mindbender Chuzzle, you are shown a pattern off to the side that you must recreate on the Chuzzle grid by sliding the Chuzzle. I really didn't like this because I am really stupid and bad at these kinds of things. Every 3 sentences I write of this script, I switch the tab and either play Balatro or watch YouTube for an hour. I need to get this over with. I'm going fucking insane!
It would be so much better than this. The game just crashed!
I need to get this shit over with. It physically pains me to play Chuzzle. There's plenty of secrets in Chuzzle, so let's rapid fire. Bald Chuzzle. Left click on a Chuzzle a lot and it'll giggle, then it'll cough and it'll sneeze. Golf ball. Burping. Left click on Don S. Bugney a lot. Oh, shit. Left click on a big Chuzzle a lot and then it will start gagging, but keep going and be Chuzzled. This is a secret game mode that I will not be playing because it requires you to unlock 5 specific achievement trophies in a certain order, and I'm not going through the pain and suffering just to get these trophies. But Chuzzle is pretty much just a reskin of Chuzzle that replaces all the Chuzzles with gems. There's no level progression in Chuzzle, so it just goes on forever, I think. Christmas Chuzzle. Not really a secret, I guess, because you can't access it through the game. I had to go on Internet Archive and download it. It's a reskin of Chuzzle, but it's all festive, and I actually quite like this. And that's all the secrets. Oh, did you expect more? Yeah, me too, man. This sucks, and I'm bored, so it's time to do something fun. Have you noticed how each Chuzzle can have a different eye color? Well, let's make a tier list of every single variation of Chuzzle based on how likable they'd be as a person. I'm only using normal Chuzzles for this because I had to go through and screenshot every single type of Chuzzle on my own, and I don't feel like trying to gather a screenshot of every single big Chuzzle.
Okay, so let's get one thing out of the way. All of the blue-eyed Chuzzles can rot in hell. I hate them. I hate them, and I want them to die. When they look at me, it just does not look right. They got a crazy look in their eyes, you know. Actually, the light blue body Chuzzle with light blue eyes, that's fine. I think I'd get along. No, I wouldn't like them, but I could like tolerate them sometimes. Black eyes on red body, adorable little beady-eyed guy who probably isn't the brightest, but you know, he's still pretty easy to get along with. Oh, here's another light blue-eyed one. Black blue, what? Black eyes, yellow body, same boat. Yeah, that one's good. Now this guy, he looks like a Yeti. And the Yeti is really scary because big monkeys are scary. But he's probably a chill monkey. So I'm gonna put him in the pal tier. Red eyes on light blue, I'd watch my back around him. Same thing with you, with the red eyes on orange body. Okay, actually the green eyes make these guys look crazy. Like this motherfucker, green eyes on light blue looks like he's going to stab me at any chance he gets. All right, brown eyes on yellow. This guy is definitely like so chill. He's definitely the kind of guy that's like a stoner, but he doesn't look like he'd be a stoner, but he is, and he's like super chill about it. Purple eyes on magenta. I think I feel like they'd be really annoying. Just for like no reason, just so eccentric and out there that it's just so incredibly unenjoyable to be around them, but not as bad as these guys. Like there's some redeeming qualities. Purple eyes on blue Chuzzle would be pals, you know. I think the dark blue Chuzzle has a very appetizing hue. Like I would eat a dark blue Chuzzle if I could. Dark blue with brown eyes. He just seems like an average Joe, you know. Doesn't talk to many people. Just keeps to himself. We'd get along. Okay, this guy, red eyes, white Chuzzle, also looks like a Yeti. Even more so with the red eyes. I think a Yeti would probably have red eyes. Or actually, you know, interesting question. If Yetis were real, do you think that they'd have red skin, blue skin, gray skin? I think it depends on the part of the world too. Kind of like what's that? Shellos and Gastrodon, whatever. This one reminds me more of a Yeti, and Yeti is scary, so I'm gonna watch my back around him. Brown eyes, red body, average Joe. Now this guy, green eyes, red body. He looks insane, but he looks like the fun insane. So I guess not really chill pill, but he's still a fun guy to be around. But he can be He looks like the kind of guy who would like overstep a boundary every once in a while, and so people would be like, hey man, calm down a bit. So I think I put him in acquaintance. What's that? Red eyes, red Chuzzle. This dude just gives me good vibes all around. Black eye, dark blue Chuzzle. Again, same thing with all the other black-eyed Chuzzles. They just look so... There's not a single thought behind those eyes. Brown-eyed green Chuzzle, I think would be pals. I certainly think that would be pals. He looks like the kind of guy I'd go out and get like coffee and breakfast with like once a month. He's giving me those vibes. Another black-eyed Chuzzle, black-eyed green Chuzzle. You're going right there. Brown-eye orange Chuzzle, he looks like he has a poop fetish. He looks like he secretly has a poop fetish or some fetish of some kind. Same thing with, green-eyed magenta Chuzzle. I get awful vibes from this guy. That guy looks like, no, I'm not gonna say that. Purple eye, yellow Chuzzle. Oh shoot, actually, is he homeboy number one? This guy looks really cool. He looks like he'd probably main Fox in Smash Bros. Yeah, I think he'd main Fox in Smash Bros and be like really good at it. But then he'd be like so open to just like teaching you his awesome ways. He also gives off the vibe of somebody that looks like they drink energy drinks, but they're actually better than that. They're actually pretty against having energy drinks. And I gotta respect this. Another green-eyed, down in the drain. Fuck you. Another dull-eyed little dweeb. Look at him. He's so adorable. Black eyes on orange Chuzzle. Magenta eyes on green Chuzzle. He looks like he has some pretty bad allergies and sneezes all the time and probably gets kids sick. Actually, he kind of gives off the vibes of that one kid from iCarly who was always like sniffling and sneezing, snot all over him. But he has a charm to him. So I'm gonna put him in pal. Green Eyes White Chuzzle does psychedelics and mutters to himself. Like he go into the break room at work or something and he's just like rocking back and forth in a chair, muttering to himself. You like pat him on the shoulder like, hey buddy, are you okay? And he like yells at you, tries to bite your fingers. So I'm gonna put him in I do not like you. All right, another Black Eyes. This one, he just seems like the bestest of friends, you know, always there for you, even though he may not understand what's going on. Purple Eyes Light Blue. Chill pill connoisseur. Also seems like the kind of guy to play Smash Bros, but he's not like super good at any one character. Like he bounces around. He plays purely for fun, and you gotta respect it. Brown Eyes White Chuzzle. He just seems fine. Actually, no, he kind of looks like he touches himself just a little too much. Brown Eyes Blue Chuzzle just seems like a normal guy, you know, nothing too special about him. Red Eyes Magenta Chuzzle. I think we'd be pals. He looks like a procrastinator. He looks like he never studied in school and just barely made it past all of his classes, but that's okay because he's a nice, funny guy. Red Eyes Yellow Chuzzle. Looks like, he looks like he'd be a cuddler, like a very affectionate person. Maybe the Chuzzle I'd most likely be in a romantic relationship with. God, what the fuck? Fuck no, scratch that, no, don't. Green Eyes Yellow Chuzzle. No. Red Eyes Blue Chuzzle. Looks fine, you know. The kind of person I'd walk past like every day in the hallways of high school and would just like give each other a little nod, like a little awkward nod. So I guess that's not even acquaintance. That's like some weird middle ground. I'm just gonna put an acquaintance. Green Eyes Green Chuzzle. Shit, man, I have no idea. Looks like a lurker. Somebody who lurks. Actually, no. Gives off the vibe of interjecting himself into every single conversation he can for absolutely no fucking reason, and it is so annoying. So I'm gonna say I don't like you. No. You're actually going in the bottom. You're going in the bottom, man. Brown Eyes Magenta Chuzzle. Fine. Just another average Joe Schmo. Looks like he licks pennies. All right, here we go. Dull-eyed, black-eyed Rainbow Chuzzle. Now, I like the Rainbow Chuzzles a lot. Not only are they inclusive, but they also just look pretty neat. Except for the light blue one. Black Eyes on white. Be yet another pal. You know, I'm gonna put all the green-eyed Chuzzles down in the bottom tier because I just really do not like them. I'm running out of things to say about these guys. Red Eyes, green body. Again, just seems like a normal guy. Purple Eyes Orange. I would not like this guy. He looks like he'd be a mouth breather. It's like super nasally. Like every time he breathes, you can hear like, like every time he breathes, you'd be able to hear like a chunk of phlegm just like flapping back and forth at the back of his throat. Like Purple Eyes Red Chuzzle. I would say this guy seems like the most normal, like the absolute most neutral out of all these people. Like no redeeming qualities, but no qualities that take away from him. Like he's just a completely average Joe Schmo. So brown-eyed Rainbow Chuzzle looks like he'd put his fingers in his butt, which is fine. It's perfectly okay. But he looks like he'd share it like way too much. He'd overshare all the time and tell you like everything that he does, even if it's like way too much information. So he's going in the I don't really like you. Man, I said I really like all the Rainbow Chuzzles, but it's not really looking like that. Red-eyed Rainbow Chuzzle. I think would be pals. I think would be friends. He looks like a nice guy with some self-confidence issues. Now, this here, Sunglasses White Chuzzle. This just appeared one time and I was so confused. Like it didn't do anything. Like it was fine. Like nothing special happened. It just came and went. And I don't know like what triggers this. It might just be really rare, and there's probably a variation of sunglasses for every color of Chuzzle. And maybe there's even different sunglasses, but I have no idea how long it would take for me to gather all the footage, how much playtime I'd need to have in order to discover all of them. But this guy looks like the textbook definition of chill. Like he looks like he throws amazing parties and he's like just a really fun dude to talk to, but he's like really hard to get close to. You know, like he wouldn't be the kind of guy I'd be like absolute best friends with because he doesn't like open up to people. His whole shtick, his whole persona is that he is a party animal, but within reason. He doesn't overstep his boundary, he knows what's good. And now for a homeboy number one. This is Purple Eyes Rainbow Chuzzle. I don't need to explain myself. Just look at him. I would marry this guy if I could.
Something I found interesting is that every Chuzzle on the main loading screen has their eye color match their body color, including the yellow and orange Chuzzles. There are no yellow and orange eye colors. Chuzzle has single-handedly given birth to a community of some of the most creative artists in the world. Looking at the Chuzzle tag on DeviantArt, we can see Chuzzle OCs such as King Puffy. How delightful. A fan-made roster for a crossover racing game featuring the cast of Angry Birds and whatever the hell Angus and Cheryl is. And as some extra DLC Wave 1 characters, we have figures such as Nom Nom from Cut the Rope, Alex from Amazing Alex, the Q from Geometry Dash, and of course, the Chuzzles. For some goddamn reason, the power of autism never fails to amaze me. Other great works we have include this personification of the blue Chuzzle, or according to this piece, Azul Chuzzle. And we also have whatever the hell this is. But here we have a holy grail. This may look like a piece of Peggle fan art. And it is. But why was it in the Chuzzle tag? Well, take a look at this character. There is a Chuzzle in her hair. I hope you remember what I told you to remember, because this character is supposed to represent the Peggle Master Splork. The Peggle Master introduced during the same level that the Chuzzles can be found in the background on. So clearly, there are implications that Splork has ties to the Chuzzles in some way. Splork is the key to figuring out the Chuzzle lore. Let's take a look at Splork in Peggle Deluxe. He has green skin, and he has a red iris. His main outfit is a big red shirt. Green and red are Christmas colors. Christmas. Where have I seen Christmas before? What even is that? Chuzzle Christmas Edition! That's what it is. Splork also has a big round and maybe even shiny belly that more often than not shakes, much like a bowl full of jelly. Much like someone I knew once. You probably know him too. Old St. Nicholas, Santa J. Claus himself. Splork might just be Santa Claus. When I was 4 years old, I asked for a Mikoyan Jurovich MiG-15 fighter jet for Christmas. And I woke up the next morning to a suspiciously Mikoyan Jurovich MiG-15 shaped present. But as soon as I started unwrapping it, a horrid stench filled the air as millions of mold spore invaded my home, poisoning me and my parents, Mark Fishbach Katsurigi and Misato Fishbach Katsurigi. Mold spore. When I look up mold spore and go to images, I find this. Beings that look very similar to the subject of this video. I even found these images. Chuzzles are mold spores. Santa Claus, bringer of mold spore. Splork, bringer of Chuzzles. It just makes sense. Splork's mission is to spread Chuzzles across the galaxy. For what purpose? We don't know. Splork has only appeared in Peggle Deluxe and Peggle Nights. And in Peggle Nights, we see Splork really likes to go bowling. Do you remember when I used the amount of eyes on a single Chuzzle to discover the coordinates of the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska? Well, we're gonna have to use that logic again. Chuzzle Bowling Spork is a phrase that has 18 characters in it, and if you add the number of eyes on a single Chuzzle to that, you get 20. What else has 20 characters, you may ask? Hollywood Star Lanes, the shooting set for The Big Lebowski, a bowling alley, Splork's favorite pastime. And The Big Lebowski kind of looks like Kurt Russell from The Christmas Chronicles, the movie where Kurt Russell plays Santa. I rest my case. As I contemplate the question that started this whole video, I can't help but realize I may have been wrong about Chuzzle. Maybe this game does serve a purpose, despite me claiming there would be no difference in the world if it didn't exist. Although it is debatable whether the existence of the previous games mentioned is justified, primarily morally unjust games such as Ethnic Cleansing or Hong Kong 97, there is justification to be had with Chuzzle. Chuzzle exists for a purpose. The purpose to drive me mad. Send me down rabbit holes, to force me to recall deep personal traumas, all for its sick, twisted enjoyment. I've cracked some of its codes, but for what? There's still so much left unanswered. What is at the Seward Dog Park in Seward, Nebraska? Who exactly turned Don S. Bugney into the Big Chuzzle, and why? Why did Santa Claus, who we now believe to be Splork, fill my house with mold spores when I was 4 years old? Perhaps some things are best left unanswered, for now. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the PopCap Party Pack, and stay safe out there. You never know when Santa Claus will bring you mold spores. And to the family of Don S. Bugney, we'll find her someday, and we will make her human again. Have a good night.